Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. Thanking everybody that is still in the building with us, rocking with us. We appreciate it. Our brother Cruz for being with us here in the first segment and sharing with us his information on cruise marketing and just kind of his testimony about prostate cancer and other things. Definitely want to thank that brother for being a part of the discussion. Giving a special shout out to those folks who have been checking in. Our brother Hakeem is listening to us. Our brother Hakeem in Jersey is listening to us. So I got some love from him. He is saying that he may have exceeded the speed limit to make sure that he don't miss tonight's show. He's expecting us to bring it. And so we appreciate him. We also want to give a shout out to our sister, DJ Renee Melendez. You can hear her every single Saturday night right here on Legacy Internet Radio, hosting Deep House Sessions with DJ Renee Melendez. We appreciate her. We appreciate our sister Shayna Latia, our clairvoyant medium. She is normally here with us. We expected her tonight, but unfortunately she's a little bit under the weather. So if you're someone who is a praying person, if you can send some sort of spiritual salutation to our sister, keep her in your thoughts. And of course, our sister Jane, who joined us with Shayna a couple of weeks ago, who shared with us some special knowledge about the moon. If you remember that show, Jane is listening to us tonight as well. So we got a lot of love for those sisters as well as our brother Hakeem, that brother. So I wanted to make sure we got that out of the way. We're going to continue with the show, but before we get into the Shan Pimple room with our brother, Mr. 3375, I would be remiss if I didn't pick on my guests who picked on me for playing Milli Vanilli.
I thought about it as I was leaving. I was like,
I played Milli Vanilli.
I mean, sometimes you gotta blame it on the rain.
You gotta blame it on something.
Right. So many
you know what it is, man. And like I was saying to them in the break, like we can all be in our feelings about Milli Vanilli now, but the reality is when them jokers came out, before we found out that it wasn't them, we was like, yo, that's the joint, girl. Yeah. You know it's too.
Yeah. Doing the little dance.
That joint was the joint. We know it was the joint.
All the 90s babies fake laughing.
I get it.
Yeah, us 70s babies is like, yo, for real.
Remember that.
Yeah, no job. But then again, y'all like Lil Wayne. Y'all don't get to talk to me about music. So,
see, don't cuss at me straight to my face.
Yeah. A milli. That mess is terrible. Ain't no half stabbing with Marcus J. Live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio. Got a caller? Caller, what's your name? What you calling about?
Hi, this is Jane. How are you?
What's up, Jane? Now you know
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. You know I'm grinning right now because I didn't get to talk to you since you left the studio a couple of weeks ago. What's going on?
Well, I just want to remind everyone that tomorrow is our new moon.
Okay.
And it's also a solar eclipse.
Tomorrow?
Yes. Tomorrow starting around 6 o'clock in the morning is when the moon rises tomorrow.
Okay.
And we have a solar eclipse until probably tomorrow evening around 7:30. But because we're in the northern hemisphere, we won't see the solar eclipse, but you'll certainly see the new moon because it's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow.
Oh, man. Right. So we're not going to see the eclipse. But I'm glad you called because, I mean, if you obviously you're listening, you heard me shout you out. And so I did what you told me to do, Jane. I went and I downloaded the Moon app on my cell phone. And I pull it up and I look at it and I bug out off of it because I remember the conversation that we had on the air. And so you left your mark with me. I want you to know that.
Well, thank you, Marcus. I enjoyed it. And anytime you want me to come back, you just let me know.
You got it, Jane. Thank you for calling and thank you for dropping that knowledge on us. All right.
And I've enjoyed the conversation. I've been listening. You guys have a great night tonight. I'm listening on.
You got it. Thanks, Jane. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
And you know how stab on Marcus J. She's so dope, y'all. I loved her. Loved her. So much information, so much knowledge, and just a fantastic energy that she brought to the show. And so I thank our sister Shayna for bringing her to us. And I'm kind of an astrology nerd. We were talking about the moon. I was like, yeah, that's real dope. Ain't no half step with Marcus J. Turning the mic over to my brother, Mr. 3375. He's going to take us into the Champagne room. What we sipping on tonight, bro?
We sipping on Tanqueray and Hennessy.
My brother.
Why you look at my direction?
Is that the Thug Passion? Is that the Tupac Thug Passion?
Yeah.
I know about that Thug Passion.
But for my guests, we have to set the setting with what the Champagne room looks like.
Okay.
It's a 70s room
Of
with the leopard skin rugs and the lava lamp.
Yeah, lava
Is it a heart-shaped
lamps.
bed?
Heart-shaped bed.
That rotates on its own.
Rotate with
Oh,
the,
of course
with the
it does.
33 Sunday flag
Going up
over
in the
bed.
joint.
Yeah.
Do you come into the room through,
Yeah.
like, through a wave of bees?
It's definitely a culture difference in the room right now. Yeah, well, it's definitely-
got the old incense, the one with the Afro lady.
you got you got the Afro pick with the fist on that
Exactly.
joint.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
You comfortable? You
I'm
good?
digging it. I'm digging
My
it.
brother.
There you go.
My
So if
brother.
anybody needs to know, T Smooth is a certified old man. So
Certified old man.
I have a thing for 70s blaxploitation films, and saying. So I'm with you.
You dig?
Yeah, I'm digging it.
All right.
All right, my brother.
I'm gonna do a little something different than what I usually been doing in the Champagne room because I got some stuff I want to get off my chest, and we're gonna start with Super Tuesday with my friend Joy, Boogie, on my right hand side. So what's your feelings and what's your thought about Super Tuesday? The outcome.
I'm not trying to make dead air. That's really just me just sighing at life. I'm a mix of fearful and optimistic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
To be able to exist on that plane at the same time. I voted for Bernie. Not really because I understand the idea of him being the lesser of two evils, but I also understand and agree with a lot of his platform. To watch Virginia go to Hillary just like broke my heart because I was just like, word. And Hillary has so much of the black vote, and I'm like, why?
Right.
I don't understand why. But okay, Bill did what he did, but Bill also did a lot of stuff to F everything up. So for people to just automatically go for Hillary because she is familiar without really paying attention to her policies, it really bothers me. And I can't even speak on the Republican side. I don't want to speak on the Republican side because I know how I feel. Every single day when I get on Facebook or I get on Tumblr, I see some new meme, some new article, some new think piece about how Donald Trump is essentially Hitler. And recently when I forgot where he was, but he was on the stomping grounds of some sort of little platform that he was doing. And he had everybody raise their hands to salute him. That's not cool.
Caller, you're on the line. What's your name and what you want to talk about?
It's DJ Renee Melendez. How you guys doing?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. What's on your mind, DJ?
Yeah. I wanted to chime in on this Republican thing.
Okay.
You guys are talking about right now. Me and Marcus were going back and forth earlier in the week about it as well. But Donald Trump is Frankenstein. The Republican Party is Victor, and he is Frankenstein. He is a monster that they have created.
Yeah.
And now they have no control over him.
No.
And the monster just run around biting people's heads off and attacking people, and they can't reel him back in. And if he gets elected, heaven help us all, because he's trying to build walls. He's trying to put people out. He doesn't like women. I equate his behavior, if you think, art often imitates life.
Right.
And if you remember, if you think back for a second, the movie Enemy of the State with Will Smith, that came out in 1998. And a lot of the stuff that was in that movie was very high-tech stuff, the GPS tracking device, the phone, the handheld device and everything. And nobody thought that those things would come to pass. Well, here we are, almost 18 years later, and all of that stuff has come to pass. So I really believe that if Donald Trump gets into office, the movie The Purge, We're going to be living in a modern day purge type environment.
I could dig
Because
that.
folks are going to be running around with their weapons and their guns, and they just going to be offing people, and it's not going to be any kind of control. The law is not going to care. It's just going to be like every man for himself, a straight free-for-all.
Right. Right.
I like your analogy, Renee, about how he was created by the Republican Party because, I've gotten to a point where I don't know that Donald Trump is a racist person. Hear me out when I say this. I think that he is so elitist that it doesn't matter to him what you are, if you're black, if you're white, if you're a woman, if you're Mexican, if you're Muslim or whatever. If you ain't like him, then you ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know that if it's specifically
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know that it's specific to your demographic. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I can agree with that because here in New York City, okay, he owns a section of land that runs along the Hudson River called Trump Park Place. And there's about 5 to maybe 7 or 8 buildings there built by his organization. And there was a big uproar several years ago because some of those units, they had an agreement with the city of Manhattan that some of those units needed to be middle to low income housing. Obviously, the people who were trying to rent had to meet certain requirements and stuff in order to get in those buildings or whatever. But nevertheless, because they were on the lower end of the ladder and not at the top of the ladder, they wanted them to use the service entrance, instead of using the front door in the building.
Right.
And he was okay with that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So, to me, there's an edge of racism there, but there's also an edge of, him being an elitist there too as well. I think though, for me personally, when you say that you're just going to, rally up all the Mexican people and build a wall and send them back where they came from and gather up all the Muslim people and send them back where they came from, a lot of people here are Muslim because that's the faith that they decided. They're American-born citizens, but that's the faith that they chose to follow. Right. So because they don't follow your faith, you're going to pack them and their belongings up and send them somewhere where they're not even a citizen of that country? Like, he's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not only, it goes beyond even religion because he wants to do that to people based upon nationality. And that, to me, is the epitome of what makes this person an elitist because every single person that lives on this planet, lives in this country right now is a descendant of an immigrant.
Exactly.
That's some real stuff. And, I personally don't like the phrase Native American. I mean, we can break down who these people are. You say Native American, that's just as disrespectful as saying Indian, if you ask me. But, those are the indigenous people. Mm-hmm. So if you ain't them, then you don't really get an opinion on it. So keep on listening. We're going to move on to another topic, Renee, but I want you to keep on listening because I know you and I have been talking enough in the last couple of days that there's more that's on the agenda that I'm going to want your opinion on if you're willing to share it. So, and there's one in particular. You ain't got to say it because I haven't teased it yet, but I think you know what I'm talking about. So before we lose you, in case we don't get you back, who are you and how can we rock with you?
It's DJ Renee Melendez, and you can rock with me every Saturday night from 7 to 9 p.m. on Deep House Sessions with Deep. Make sure you have your baby powder, your furniture cleared out, a bottle of water, and a towel with your baby powder because you're going to dance.
That's my sister.
My bad. Look, I'm running on a headache that I've had for 4 days right now, so
girl,
just bear with me.
Get you some good drugs. That's my sister and my twin. Thank you for checking with us. Jersey City
All
lives.
Right,
Peace. Later. And you know how Steppin with Marcus J. All right, our brother Hakeem is listening to us. Hakeem said he likes the Frankenstein analogy. Republicans don't like him. Dems don't like him. Mm-hmm. If he gets elected, Congress won't follow his policies. Might actually be a way to get to the do-nothing Congress to actually do something. Someone will have to take control. No way he would endorse this man. Mr. 3375, comment on that.
There's no way I'm going to endorse him anyway. Like, Trump to me is like the beginning of the Antichrist. And he might not be the exact Antichrist, but he's the front man for the Antichrist. That's how I look at it.
I feel you on that because honestly, when we talk about Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster, how you built this thing up to be something that is of your own creation, and then when it got too much, you tried to kill it. And it's funny that they brought that up, that he was a creation, and I use that in air quotes, of the Republican Party, because he really came out of nowhere. Like, the Republican Party really had nothing to do with him from jump, but there was some that were like, well, let's just see what he's talking about, because he's saying all this stuff that we wish we could say.
Right.
But he has his own backing to be able to say whatever he wants to say. But honestly, now the Republican Party is trying to kill him as well, because so many people are pushing away from him and acknowledging we don't agree with what he has to say. But you've essentially allowed this person. You didn't create it. It's you've allowed the inmates to run the asylum, and now you want to shut it down. It's too late now.
Right.
Yeah, this is D Smooth. That's the thing that people fail to realize, though. He's able to run this campaign on his own money. So with that being said, it's kind of like having a business. When you have investors, you have to talk with everybody, get everybody's decision on every decision made with a business. With this political party, he's running it all on his own money. So he doesn't have to speak or talk with anybody.
Right.
That's why he can say what he wants. He can get on stage, act a fool,
Right.
and he has no one to answer to.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's all about the corporate and the money that he has in his pocket.
He's a fascist.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is a fascist. Peace people. He's a fascist. I don't know if anybody's ever been overseas or whatever, but I've been to Germany, and they teach you, the leading up to a fascist, but they don't teach us that here. But when you pay attention, that's what's leading. No, let's just lead them over here. You know what? We're going to just put a patch on to identify you so we'll know who you are. Okay, you know what? Let's just put them in this one area by themselves. You know what? It's a lot of you all. I think we should just kill them. Y'all like that? Yeah, let's kill them. That's what we're looking at. Donald Trump is a fascist. And,
Right. I trip off of the fact that, he says what he wants to say. He does what he wants to do. And you have a lot of people who have issues with President Barack Hussein Obama. And let's call a spade a spade. He's a spade. That's why they don't like him.
Right.
But they ain't going to come right out and say it because it's not politically correct.
Right.
But Donald Trump will blow that dog whistle. And that's how they get to, say the things that they feel. Now, we know that they've been overtly nasty towards this president from the beginning.
Yeah.
But when someone like Donald Trump, who I'm glad, what you said earlier, brother, when you were talking about how he's got his own money, but he don't need his own money because he's so polarizing that the media knows that all you got to do is say Donald Trump and people going to pay attention and tune in.
Right.
And so Donald Trump is getting a whole bunch of free advertising without having to do anything. Like, he's got money. Of course he's got money. He's Donald freaking Trump. He's got money, but he ain't got to spend it because I paid attention. Everybody has their news station that they like. I happen to be a CBS guy. Like, wherever I go, I'm from New Jersey. I come here. I follow CBS. If I travel, I'm in Tampa, or I'm in Phoenix, or if I'm in Atlanta, I just gravitate to CBS. It is what it is, local or national.
I'm glad you didn't say Fox.
Well, I mean, I pay attention to them too because you can't know what the
You gotta know what your
you got to
enemy
know
is
what your
all
enemy
about.
is doing.
That's true.
Right.
And the enemy isn't just Fox, it's MSNBC. They whack as hell too. But
And CNN is getting there.
But the point I'm making is every single morning at 7 o'clock, I turn the news on and I watch, and they always lead with Donald Trump. They always lead with Donald Trump. They don't lead with Raphael. I don't call him Ted Cruz. Because you can't get that, bro. Like, your name is Raphael.
Unless he,
Your name is Raphael. Like,
Unless-
if your name is Donald and we call you Don, you know what I mean? Like, if your
Right.
name is Marco, we call you Mark. You know what I
Right.
mean? If your
Yeah.
name is John, we call you Jack.
right.
If your name is Benjamin, we call you Ben. If your name is Hillary, we call you Hill. Your name is Raphael, we call you Ted. Really? I mean, come on, you can't get that. Like, Mitt Romney's name is Willard. Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Hey,
they always lead with them.
Right.
So he ain't got to do nothing.
Right.
And the last thing I'll say on him before I give you back to Mike, Mr. 3375, you can kind of lead us into the next piece that we talked about, which is another Donald Trump piece. But this is a dude who called Raphael the P word. the P word for a woman's anatomy. He called him that. And then a few days later, when they were talking about building a wall in Mexico, and he was going to building a wall, keeping Mexicans out, and he said they're going to pay for the wall. And the Mexican president said, "I'm not building that effing wall."
Yep.
And Donald Trump condemned this man for using the vulgarity on television. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. You just called this dude the P word. Like, for real?
Yeah, no room to talk.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you in freaking debates talking about your joint is
because
your
your fingers
hands.
are little.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
You gotta prove
like,
a point.
you ain't got no problems.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
You gotta prove a
we
point.
men and we black men. We know what that means when somebody says that.
Yeah.
Sister,
Hands
you
down.
know what that means.
Exactly
You
what
be
that
looking
means.
at fingers, don't you?
Huh?
You be looking at fingers. Yeah. Say what? You know, ask that with Marcus J.
Yeah, we're going to keep it moving on with Donald Trump. So before the primaries on Super Tuesday, he was endorsed and supported by David Duke.
Yep.
Who's that? Who's David Duke?
Yeah, and that's what he said. I don't know. Like, that's exactly what Donald Trump said. He said, I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacists or white supremacists, says Donald Trump in response. He said, I don't know. Did he endorse me? I don't know. I don't even know anything or nothing about David Duke.
That's his favorite word. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because he realized at the end of the day, David Duke is a political poison.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what he
But 16 years ago in 2000, he knew who David Duke was. This is when he was, David Duke likes to hide behind, I'm the former.
Right.
But that doesn't mean anything. 16 years ago, Donald was interviewing somebody. He was interviewing with somebody. And in that interview, he disavowed him. David Duke is all these sorts of things, all the flash words that he liked to use to try to describe somebody. So it's funny 16 years later when you're on such a grand stage. Now it's, I don't know what I do there. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know.
Right.
All of that. And it's funny because we talk about Donald Trump, but we talk about a lot of the people that follow Donald Trump follow him because they say he's powerful, he's successful, he's done all these great things. No, he hasn't. A majority of the things that he has done have failed. 7 of them have failed. He's saying that his net worth is, I'm in the somewhere in the billions. The man's net worth is $150 million. You got what's that? And you're right there on the edge of the 1%, kinda. And majority of the money that this man makes is through lawsuits.
Okay.
So that's why he's so quick to be like, I'll sue you, because that's how he makes his money. This man has gone bankrupt multiple times. So it's funny how so many people can say, I like him, I trust his acumen, I trust his business, his leadership. How can you trust somebody that his legacy ultimately is saying you're fired? How can you trust somebody with that? And then you're going to back your existence, your country, on this man who has made fun of people with disabilities, constantly is trying to prove that Obama is not from this country. He was the first person to really come out and be a birther. Almost every business, everything that has Trump on it, for the exception of a few hotels and Miss Universe, have failed horribly. Not like, it didn't work out, I didn't lose much. The real estate business that he had in New York, that failed. This dude had Trump Steaks, that failed. He had Trump Travel, that failed. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Trump University,
Yeah,
that
that failed on the way out. That failed at the gate. You tripped. So all these things fail. All these things fail. So it's funny for so many people, and he is a polarizing figure. It's funny how so many people can say in the same breath that this is why I will vote for him, because there's so many horrible things that this man wants to do. And just because me being a nerd, me looking at the numbers and doing all the things that I do, if he were to get away with getting rid of migrant workers, those that are here illegally, 6 to 20% of the workforce would go. And that has to do with infrastructure, that has to do with farming, has to do with a lot of things, and that's billions of dollars lost.
That's a nerd perspective, but we can simplify it and say, who is cleaning his toilets? Who's building his buildings? You know, and I don't say that in a disrespectful way. I say that in a keeping it real way, because this is what you do. This is what a lot of them do.
Right.
And so, I mean, I look at Donald Trump, man, and I laugh. You know, I love the Frankenstein analogy because
Can we say Drumpf? Because that's his real name.
Donald Drumpf.
That's his real name.
Yeah,
he changed it because he's an immigrant family. He changed it because
I think it was his grandfather that changed it when his grandfather came over and made his money as a pimp and a brothel runner.
Right.
And
his father
who got kicked out of the country.
Right.
And then he left, went back to Germany, and then came back in Canada. Yeah. I mean, look up Donald Trump's family.
Look up the history.
Yeah, look up the history of his family. Like, there's no direct correlation to his father being in the KKK, but he did get into a fight with a whole bunch of cats defending the KKK. So you make your own conclusion.
Make your own.
You know, with regards to that. And it's the same dude who was given $1 million to start his life.
Small loan.
You know, I got dropped off in Virginia. Like, my father rented a Cadillac, dropped me off at college, and said, I'll holler at you. Now, they gave me money. They took care of me.
Right.
But they ain't give me $1 million.
Right.
You know, and I got my last piece of money about 3 months after I graduated college, like, be a man, take care of your business. And it wasn't $1 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I say that to say, like, for those folks that lives here in Richmond, you got a cat that grew up in Short Pump telling people in Churchill, do better. You know what I mean? Or for my Jersey City people, you got people down at Duncan Projects, you know, that's being told by the folks in the Heights, do better.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Like, you don't know my existence.
Right.
But actually you do. You do know my existence. And so for you to sit here and act like I got the same, you know, they're real good about telling you that you got the same, the same opportunities as them. You know, do better. You know, pull yourself by the bootstraps, stuff like that. But you don't realize the legacy of the 200-300 year head start that you may have had.
Right.
You know, like, you know, today you got a lot of black folk that want to blame white folk. I'm not blaming white folk, and white folk that get in their feelings about black folk that blame them. I understand that. But at the same time, the whole essence of what white privilege is you, merely by the color of your skin, benefit based on the legacy of what was laid forth before you was even born.
Right.
And the same with how I've been disrespected. Now, because I'm a real dope cat, and because everybody in this room is real dope cats, we going to kind of rise above that.
Right.
But there's a glass ceiling that we going to hit if we standing next to, or potentially hit, if we standing next to someone who happens to have fairer skin than we do. And I think that if we don't acknowledge that as a mere possibility, that's it, just a possibility.
Right.
We don't acknowledge that as a possibility, we being disingenuous. This is what Donald Trump is tapping into. He's tapping into those people who don't even want to acknowledge that as a mere possibility. You know, and it's brilliant when you can make the poorest white person think that a rich black person is a problem. That's gangster right there.
Right.
That's real gangster, because the reality is, if you really, really was in a country where pull yourself was on by the bootstraps, really with some real stuff,
That was possible.
if that was possible, then it shouldn't even really matter.
Right.
And so when you get somebody like Donald Trump, who knows all about Mexicans trafficking drugs and all that kind of stuff, and he knows all about ISIS and all that kind of stuff, and knows all about all that kind of stuff, right? But he don't know nothing about David Dukes. When
Right.
David Dukes come up, it's like he got to play dumb. You know,
Right.
I don't
I don't know who that
I don't know who that is. Or the KKK.
craziness.
Like, any person, any human born in America who has basic people intelligence,
Right.
if you got a GED and you of age, you've heard of the freaking KKK.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
So cut the bullshit.
And everybody know who David Duke
And
is.
everybody knows who David Dukes is. You know what I mean? So, ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. live from the den. Legacy Internet Radio. You want to talk about that super thing that you was mentioning to me? Not Super Tuesday, but that other super thing.
Yeah, man. Like, everybody is out on the radio is familiar with the Zika mosquito virus.
Right.
Well, it's a mosquito that's carrying a virus that's killing people.
Oh, okay.
So, basically what's going on. So, the government in Australia, and probably the United States contribute to it,
It was the United States.
spent millions. They just spent millions and millions of dollars to try to get rid of the Zika virus. So they built mutant mosquitoes to go in.
Oh my
and
gosh!
kill
Why are we
the
doing
population.
Deep Blue Sea, the mosquito version?
I can't make this up. I can't make this
Why
up.
are we doing Deep Blue Sea, the mosquito
Yes,
version?
they putting all this money into mutant mosquitoes to kill the population for the mosquitoes.
We did the
that's
same
killing-
thing with Africanized
Let me tell you
bees.
what. I just want to know, what does this mean for the American people?
They tried to kill us.
They trying to kill us off. Exactly.
They tried to kill us.
They trying to kill us off. What's your thoughts on it, brother?
First of all, when you said how much money they spent, here's my, the first thing I went into, they say that there's no money to.
I'm gonna tell you exactly how much they spent. $37 million.
37. That frustrates me. You want to know why that frustrates me? Because there's something like for example, I'm at soldiers that 2011 April 2011 they stopped paying soldiers altogether, saying we don't have any money, the budget is tight, we can't pay soldiers. You just paid $37 million for mosquitoes. I'm sorry, I lost track about what happened in there. Like you said, we ain't got no money. What?
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, but
I can't believe that.
They killing off. Even
Yes,
though
I
this
can.
is in
Never mind.
Australia, this is in Australia, it affects us.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
definitely affects us.
Absolutely.
Because like you say, I know America put money into that.
Absolutely.
They're definitely killing off the population because these viruses just don't pop up.
No, because we have a new virus like every 2 to 3 years.
Exactly.
Because we're still recovering from Ebola. Ebola swept everybody, and you coughed, you automatically had Ebola.
Swine flu,
Swine
bird
flu,
flu.
all that.
37
It's a new
million.
flu or a new virus every couple years. Because you got to keep people on,
Well, it was
on their toes.
it was a meme that I saw, and it went all the way back to 1999. And every single year, there was something that was put out by the media and the government that was designed to create fear with the American people. All the way back to Y2K.
Yeah.
I remember working at a job. I was on the Y2K. Team where we had to
Survival task
force, or whatever it was, but we had to go through, literally we started that joint in 1998, no joke, and we was going through all the computer systems and all this kind of testing stuff and making sure they was taking us off of our normal workflow so that we can go and test these computers and all this kind of stuff. And then you had, bird flu, and then you had swine flu, and then you had anthrax, and then you had ISIS and all of these things
Everything.
that, every year it had was something different, and I personally don't get caught up in it. Like, what to, as my mentor Bob Marley would say, what to be got to be. Like, if something's going to go down with Marcus J, and it's going down. Like, if I was a pilot of an airplane and it was my time to have a heart attack, then I guess it's everybody's time to die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't say that to the person that's afraid to fly.
I mean, that's the real stuff. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm, okay, then I'm driving a car.
Right.
If I'm driving a car, and you have to be in the passenger seat, and I have a heart attack, then it's your time to go too. If I'm about to hit this pole,
I might say, no, dog, because if I'm in the car with you, it's my job to help you swerve. Like, you're not going to take me
then
down
that
with
means
you.
it ain't your time. Then
Exactly.
Yeah.
it just
I'm going to do
mine.
everything I can.
Then I guess it's just mine. But that damn super mosquito. I mean, that's
actually
just,
they call it Frankenstein.
Of course.
that's the second time we've heard that phrase here in the show tonight.
Keyword tonight.
Definitely.
It's Jurassic Park for mosquitoes. I
Yeah.
don't understand.
Yeah.
Why are we allowing the movies to dictate life? I don't understand that.
I always said the movies are true because they
No, it's so true.
Movies
know what I'm
don't
saying?
just pop up.
these people is not making this stuff up in their brain.
I'm
It's
glad
something
you,
that
I'm
they
glad
know.
you said. I'm glad you said that because when Renee earlier mentioned Enemy of the State, I remember when that movie came out. I went to see it in the movies in
Yeah.
'98 when it came out, and I remember thinking, man, they can't possibly do this. And then I remember seeing the documentary or something like a year or two later, and it was like anything that you see in a movie is at least a generation behind technology wise.
Shonda Rhimes proves that every Thursday.
Yeah, man, it's it's crazy. Like when they was watching you through the cable box,
Yeah.
through that little red light in the cable box, they watching you and
Yeah.
stuff. So You know, when you mentioned Jurassic Park, I'm gonna tell a little quick story. It's funny. I got a friend of mine I was kicking it with this weekend. He was talking about how he got this new TV. He got surround sound. I hope he's listening right now because I'm about to tell you a story. But got a new TV, surround sound. He got a little dog, one of those little pocket dogs, little dogs, little small dog. And he was trying out his surround sound by watching Jurassic Park. So the dog just happened to be chilling in front of the TV. And the first scene in the movie where the dinosaur just does this dinosaur sound, whatever it was. He said the dog stood up, walked out the room, and left a line of pee